Welcome to Dream Tales Sleep Stories. Tonight's reading is The Village Healer. Settle into your bed or sofa and let your shoulders, jaw, and eyelids grow heavy. Inhale slowly, 1, 2, 3, and sigh the air away, allowing the day to fade into quiet dark. With every soft inhale, you invite fresh English phrases. With every gentle exhale, stray thoughts drift farther off. Behind my voice flows a gentle 528 Hz melody, renowned for guiding the mind toward deep relaxation. Keep your eyes closed or follow the captions, whichever feels right. Simply receive the rhythm and resonance of the language. Deep in rest, tonight's phrases will take root like seeds, ready to bloom into stronger English skills with the morning light. When you feel settled, hold that unhurried breath and allow yourself to drift into the tale. The Village Healer begins now, and when the story's final line has faded, the music will linger a little longer, carrying you gently deeper into sleep. The Village Healer. In a small village called Millbrook, surrounded by thick forests and rolling hills, there lived a young witch named Eliza. She was 17 years old, with long, dark hair and bright green eyes that seemed to sparkle with hidden magic. Eliza lived alone in a tiny wooden cottage deep in the forest, far away from the village where people could not see her. The villagers of Millbrook were afraid of Eliza because they believed all witches were evil and dangerous. They told scary stories about her to their children, warning them never to go into the deep forest where she lived. "The witch will cast bad spells on you," mothers would whisper to their daughters. "She will turn you into a frog," fathers would tell their sons. But these stories were not true. Eliza was actually a very kind and gentle person. She spent her days taking care of a beautiful garden behind her cottage, where she grew special herbs and flowers that had magical healing powers. She could make medicines from these plants that could cure almost any illness or injury. Eliza also had the amazing ability to talk to animals, and many forest creatures would visit her cottage when they were sick or hurt. Every morning, Eliza would wake up early and go outside to water her garden. The birds would sing to her, and she would sing back to them in their own language. Rabbits, deer, and even bears would come to her for help when they had problems. She would gently touch their wounds with her hands and speak magic words that made the pain go away. Despite her kind nature, Eliza felt very lonely. She wished she could help the people in the village, but she knew they would run away if they saw her. Sometimes, on quiet nights, she would walk to the edge of the forest and look at the lights in the village windows, wondering what it would be like to have friends and neighbors who cared about her. One autumn day, a terrible sickness began to spread through Millbrook. It started with old Mrs. Patterson, who lived in a small house near the village square. She became very weak and could not get out of bed. Soon, her neighbor Mr. Williams became sick too, and then his wife, and then their children. Within a week, more than half the people in the village were lying in bed with high fevers, terrible coughs, and no energy to do anything. Dr. Henderson, the village doctor, tried everything he could think of to help the sick people. He gave them different medicines and told them to rest, but nothing worked. The sickness continued to spread, and people began to worry that everyone in the village might die. The doctor had never seen anything like this strange illness before, and he didn't know what to do. Young Tom Miller was one of the few people in the village who had not become sick yet. He was 12 years old, with red hair and freckles covering his face. Tom was very worried about his little sister Anna, who had been sick for 3 days and was getting worse. Their parents were also sick and could not take care of her properly. Tom decided he had to do something to help his sister. He had heard that sometimes rare herbs growing in the deep forest could cure diseases that regular medicine could not help. Even though his parents had always told him never to go into the witch's forest, Tom was desperate to save Anna. Early one morning, while everyone in the village was still sleeping, Tom quietly left his house and walked toward the dark forest. He was scared, but his love for his sister was stronger than his fear. As he walked deeper into the woods, he saw beautiful flowers and plants he had never seen before. The forest was not as scary as he had expected. It was actually quite peaceful and beautiful. After walking for about an hour, Tom came to a clearing where he saw the most amazing garden he had ever seen. There were plants with silver leaves that glowed in the sunlight, flowers that seemed to change colors as he watched them, and herbs that smelled like medicine, but much more pleasant than anything Dr. Henderson had ever given him. Tom was so amazed by the beautiful garden that he didn't notice Eliza standing behind him until she spoke. "What are you doing in my garden, young man?" she asked in a gentle voice. Tom spun around and saw the witch for the first time. She was not at all what he had expected. Instead of an old, ugly woman with a crooked nose and evil eyes, Eliza was young and pretty, with kind eyes and a warm smile. She was wearing a simple green dress and had flowers in her hair. "I'm sorry for coming into your garden without permission," Tom said nervously. "My little sister is very sick, and so are many other people in our village. Dr. Henderson can't cure them, and I thought maybe some of these magic plants could help her." Eliza's heart filled with sadness for sick people in the village. She had been watching from the forest and knew about the terrible illness, but she hadn't known how to help without scaring the villagers. Now, here was a brave young boy asking for her help. "Tell me about your sister's sickness," Eliza said, sitting down on a wooden bench near her cottage and inviting Tom to sit beside her. Tom described Anna's symptoms, the high fever, the terrible cough, and how weak she had become. As he talked, Eliza nodded thoughtfully. She recognized the illness and knew exactly which herbs could cure it. "I can help your sister and the other people in your village," Eliza said. "But you must promise me something. You must not tell anyone that the medicine came from me, at least not at first. The people in your village are afraid of me, and they might not trust medicine that comes from a witch." Tom promised, and Eliza went into her garden to collect the herbs she needed. She picked leaves from a plant with silver flowers, roots from a bush with purple berries, and bark from a tree that hummed softly when the wind blew through its branches. Then she went into her cottage and began to prepare the magic medicine. Eliza crushed the herbs together in a special stone bowl while speaking magic words in a language Tom had never heard before. As she worked, the herbs began to glow with a soft, warm light, and the room filled with a sweet smell like honey and flowers. When she finished, she had made enough medicine to cure everyone in the village. Give 1 spoonful of this medicine to your sister 3 times a day, Eliza instructed Tom. She should start feeling better by tomorrow morning. If the other villagers want the medicine too, bring them here, but don't tell them who I am until they are ready to listen. Tom thanked Eliza many times and hurried back to the village with the magic medicine. He was amazed by how kind and helpful the witch had been. Completely different from the scary stories he had heard all his life. When Tom got home, he immediately gave Anna a spoonful of the medicine. It tasted like sweet berries and made her feel warm inside. That evening, Anna's fever went down for the first time in days, and she was able to sit up in bed and eat a little soup. By the next morning, Anna was feeling much better, and by the evening, she was completely healthy again. Tom's parents couldn't believe how quickly she had recovered. "What medicine did you give her?" his father asked. Tom remembered his promise to Eliza and said, "I found some special herbs in the forest. Maybe they can help other people too." Word spread quickly through the village about Anna's miraculous recovery. Soon, many families were asking Tom to show them where he had found the magic herbs. Tom led groups of people to the edge of the forest, but he was careful not to take them all the way to Eliza's cottage. Instead, Tom would go alone to visit Eliza and ask for more medicine. Each time, she would prepare exactly what was needed and give it to him freely. Soon, everyone in the village was healthy again, and Dr. Henderson was amazed by the power of these mysterious forest herbs. As weeks passed, people became very curious about where Tom was getting such powerful medicine. Some villagers followed him into the forest and discovered the beautiful garden and the cottage where Eliza lived. When they saw her, they were surprised to find that the witch was young and kind, not old and frightening as they had imagined. The first villagers to meet Eliza were Mrs. Patterson and her daughter Mary. They had come to thank whoever had saved Mrs. Patterson's life. When they saw Eliza working in her garden, talking softly to a bird she was healing, they realized that the witch was not evil at all. "Are you the person who made the medicine that saved our village?" Mrs. Patterson asked. Eliza nodded shyly. "I only wanted to help. I know you've all been afraid of me, but I would never hurt anyone. I use my magic to heal, not to harm." Mrs. Patterson and Mary were amazed by Eliza's gentleness and kindness. They spent the afternoon learning about her garden and watching her heal sick animals with her magic touch. When they returned to the village, they told everyone about their wonderful experience. Slowly, more and more villagers began to visit Eliza in her forest home. They discovered that she was not only harmless, but incredibly helpful. She could cure illnesses that Dr. Henderson couldn't treat, help crops grow better, and even find lost animals or objects using her magic. Tom and Anna became Eliza's first real friends in the village. They would visit her every day after school, helping her tend to her garden and learning about different herbs and their healing properties. Anna was especially interested in Eliza's ability to talk to animals, and Eliza taught her how to understand what different bird songs meant. Dr. Henderson was one of the last villagers to meet Eliza, and when he did, he was amazed by her knowledge of medicine and healing. "You know more about curing illness than anyone I've ever met," he told her. "Would you be willing to work with me to help the people of Millbrook?" Eliza was thrilled by this invitation. For the first time in her life, she felt truly useful and appreciated. She began spending part of each day in the village, working with Dr. Henderson to treat sick people and teaching interested villagers about the healing properties of different plants. The mayor of Millbrook, Mr. Thompson, officially invited Eliza to become the village's official healer. "We were wrong to fear you," he said during a special ceremony in the village square. "You have shown us that magic can be used for good, and we are grateful to have you as part of our community." Eliza moved from her lonely cottage in the forest to a small house near the village center, where people could easily find her when they needed help. She kept her magical garden, but now villagers would come to help her tend it, learning about healing herbs and enjoying the peaceful beauty of the plants. The village children especially loved visiting Eliza. She would tell them stories about the forest animals, teach them which plants were safe to touch, and show them simple magic tricks that made flowers bloom or butterflies appear. The same children who had once been afraid of the scary witch now ran to greet her whenever they saw her walking through the village. Tom and Anna remained Eliza's closest friends. Tom became her apprentice, learning how to prepare simple medicines and helping her gather herbs from the forest. Anna discovered she had a natural gift for communicating with animals, just like Eliza. And the witch taught her how to develop this special ability. During the winter months, when people often became sick with colds and fevers, Eliza's house was always busy with villagers coming for healing treatments. She never asked for payment, but people would bring her gifts of food, warm clothes, or beautiful things they had made with their hands. The spring after Eliza joined the village community, Millbrook held its annual spring festival. For the first time in many years, everyone in the village was healthy and happy. The festival committee asked Eliza to use her magic to help make the celebration extra special. On the day of the festival, Eliza stood in the center of the village square and spoke magic words that made all the flowers in the village bloom at once. She called to the forest animals, and deer, rabbits, and colorful birds came to join the celebration. She created a gentle rain of flower petals that danced in the air without ever touching the ground. The villagers watched in wonder and delight as Eliza's magic transformed their festival into something truly magical. Children laughed as butterflies landed on their noses, and adults smiled as birds sang beautiful songs they had never heard before. "Thank you, Eliza," called out Mrs. Patterson. "Thank you for showing us that magic can be beautiful and good." "Thank you for saving our village," added Dr. Henderson. "And thank you for teaching us not to judge people by our fears instead of by their actions." As the sun set on the festival, Eliza looked around at all the smiling faces of her new friends and neighbors. She thought about her lonely days in the forest cottage and realized how much her life had changed. She was no longer the feared witch who lived alone in the woods. She was Eliza, the village healer, beloved by everyone in Millbrook. Tom and Anna ran up to her, their faces glowing with happiness. "Eliza," Anna said, "will you teach us more magic tomorrow?" "Of course," Eliza replied, hugging both children. "We'll start with learning how to help the new baby rabbits I found in the forest this morning." As the festival ended and people began to go home, Eliza realized that the greatest magic of all wasn't in her herbs or her spells. It was in the friendship and acceptance she had found with the people of Millbrook. She had discovered that when people take the time to understand each other, fear can transform into love, and loneliness can become belonging. From that day forward, Eliza was known throughout the land as the kindest and most skillful healer anyone had ever known. But more importantly, she was known as a true friend to everyone in Millbrook, and she lived happily ever after as the beloved village healer.